Cycling for me has never been about the bikes. They've only ever been the prerequisite tool. I do not see just a bike race, I see riders on heroic journeys and warriors doing battle. At one point, cycling was the most popular sport in Europe because newspapers told magnificent tales about epic races and crafted the great champions into legends. But with the advent of television, cycling lost some of its mystique, and that golden age of journalism and narration has perished. So now let us try to return some romance to the beautiful sport. Let us praise and give glory to phenomenal performances to be remembered for decades to come. Let us dwell on the moments that inspire and move us. Let us chronicle the rise and fall of heroes. Let us chart these life-changing journeys, these cycling odysseys. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Cycling Odysseys. I'm your host, Patrick Santino. This is the fourth day of the 4 days of introduction. Oh yeah, we made it to the end. Hopefully, this didn't take too much out of you. This is only early season stuff. Only a 4-day stage race. Come on, that's nothing, right? All right. Anyways, this is kind of this one's shorter than the rest, so I guess it's the ceremonial flat stage at the finish. Think like Valenciana, how in Stein van den Bag when he the year that he won that final flat stage when he had the bag stuck to his gears. I'll have to write up a blog post about that or something at some point. Anyways, all right. So I kind of just want to jump into this one, and we'll kind of just try to figure out what was the point of this fourth stage and why it was needed at the end. In a way, it's almost kind of just a big disclaimer. So hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it's worth it. Hopefully it's necessary. If you already heard it, just skip ahead. But before starting this, I did want to say, for the next 2 weeks, if all goes to plan, expect heavy cyclocross content in the lead up to Worlds. And from there, we're going to jump back to the early road, or jump straight into the early road season, because it's going to pick up like right after. Within days right after. All those early season races in Spain and Portugal are going to start up. So as I said in the last episode, lots of my stuff from last year, such as like the previews or pre-race hype of, reusable stuff should be, reusable. And, I don't know, I'm going to put out content from last year that I think was good. And then, that's the hype for the beginning, for the race of the week or whatever, so expect a lot of that. If you've listened to it, no worries, just skip ahead. If you haven't, excellent time to refresh yourself. In addition to all that, I'm going to be trying to run the gauntlet of recapping any just semi-major race at all, besides a few that I have a personal biased against that I refuse to cover, like Dwarsdorf-Vlaanderen. Why don't I cover that one? You'll have to listen to find out. But I have entrenched reasons why I'm against that race. In addition to that, I'll try to do some throwbacks to ancient classics of stuff, ancient in, very loose terms, of course. The ancient world ended with Rome, obviously, so, cycling doesn't go back that far. I'll have some just miscellaneous topics of stuff that, who knows how it fits in or whatever. Fingers crossed. I'm going to try to do some book reviews this year. Cycling book reviews. Maybe we just go beyond cycling book reviews. We'll see. Full review of the season maybe at the end. We'll see. I don't know. It's very hazy. And then very hopefully, I was almost tempted to do it in 2021, but you saw how quick those episodes came out that I didn't even put on intros and outros. I was just trying to get that done before the 31st. Oh my gosh. Oh. So yeah, hopefully though, at the end of the year, a very unique and rewarding awards show will be put out, so that stuff, definitely much more too that I kind of just would want to keep under wraps before I would ever even think about promising it, is what I'm kind of planning. And all of that is very subject to life getting in the way, and there's a very good chance it will. And this is sadly only just a hobby at this point, so it's like, that's the way it goes. Like this gets the axe compared to other things that need to get done. So anyways, with all that said, This is the fourth stage, the 4 days introduction. Let's jump in. We'll recap afterwards. Introduction, Stage 4, An Easy Life is Not for Them. To finish this introduction of 4 stages, I wish to clarify a few misconceptions that might already be developing. Please do not think I shall be setting up pagan shrines to these cyclists like the ancients did of old for Hercules or other quasi-divine heroes. I fully acknowledge that there are greater heroes in the present day and throughout the past. Perhaps someday I shall branch out to dwell on their stories too. But when it comes to sports, cyclists are inarguably my top choice for hero material. They are my top choice because of how they inspire me, and they inspire me because they remind me of heroes greater than them. I speak of people past, present, and future who have, are, or will suffer in the pursuit of things greater than themselves. For the great men and women we admire and remember, the heroes from any realm we choose, creature comforts are not enough. An easy life is not for them. I speak of heroes we admire for their struggle, their determination, their bravery against all odds, their commitment to a cause greater than their own mortal life, when they fight in many realms for glory, honor, justice, beauty, excellence, a better life, their people, their family, their God. It is inspiring. I think of the young men who stormed the beaches of Normandy in 1944, now an archetypal image for bravery in combat. I think of the explorers and pioneer families since the dawn of humanity who have traveled across rough oceans and all sorts of harsh landscape to populate frontiers and tame the wild. I think about the citizens of a nation that aspire to ask not what their country can do for them, but what they can do for their country. The same nation who decided to go to the moon, not because it is easy, but because it is hard. I think of people throughout history who have discerned what is right and fought the injustices of their time. I think of noble people who spend every ounce of their energy in voluntary service to better the lives of the marginalized. I think of my own tradition where holy men and women have suffered to imitate and follow the ultimate example of Christ who has gone before them, treading the difficult path for the sake of all fellow men. But as should be clear by now, I look to all the great stories from all the cultures of humanity for great heroes who took the hard road for higher purposes. Yes, ultimately, we all value these same aspirations. Giraffes have long necks, mosquitoes suck blood, and koalas are adorably cute. But men look beyond themselves to greater purposes. Thus is cycling, like all the best sports, a microcosm realm of pursuits greater than one's self. To train, to hone the racecraft, to develop the fortitude required to race a bike pushes a person out of their comfort zone where they develop and mature physically, mentally, spiritually. The preparation is difficult in itself, and many are not rewarded for their efforts with prizes. But just the desire to compete, just the will to endure grueling training sessions and harrowingly hard race experiences is surely something special, surely gives a sense of higher purpose. Thus, none of these cyclists ever simply ride faster than the other or just cross the finish line first. There is always a story of determination and passion to overcome adversity and suffering to pull off a great victory. Why else are there always such great celebrations from even the most modest riders when they win? And just as the best sports of all time, sometimes the victory is relished by more than just the winner themselves. At times, whole nations have applauded a great champion's accomplishment. In the realm of cycling, the first example that comes to mind is Gino Bartoli's 1948 Tour de France victory that helped ease tensions in Italy, where civil strife was on the brink of becoming civil war. Events surely to be covered more in the future. But the beauty of at least modern cycling for me is that surely the individual winner absolutely never celebrates alone, because they never win alone. For such an individual sport, it is unbelievable to see how much teams are necessary. Many riders enter a race with no intention to win themselves. A majority come to the races fully planning to sacrifice their chances for a team leader who is already an accomplished champion or is physically greater than the rest of the team. Some guard and place their leaders safely among the peloton. Some give their leader their bike when the leader's breaks. Some pace their leader up the mountains or lead them out in the sprints. Many are even humble enough to grab food and water from the car for their leader, or will take back the leader's rain jacket when the sun shines again. And of course, none of these jobs are easy, for these riders are in the same hard race that the champion wins. Thus, they suffer like the champion, but their suffering receives not the same glory, sometimes not even any reward whatsoever to speak of. But sometimes the teammate's leader wins, and the teammate completes the challenging race as well. At those times, it is so satisfying and rewarding to see the celebration. There are none more joyous than the celebrations with the ones that helped you win, the ones who suffered not only with you, but for you. To endure such sufferings of a bike race, especially not even for your own sake, but for a teammate's, surely these are the inspiring pursuits I speak of, the ones greater than oneself. Why such riders do it shall be an eternal topic of conversation, but there is no denying I admire them for it, and I am deeply moved by their performances. Thus all is laid bare. If you combine the epicness of the sport as described in the previous stages of this introduction, the suffering mentioned here and clear to see during any bike race, and particularly the self-sacrifice of many of the teammates, then you now know why cycling is my favorite sport. Other sports have all three elements of mythical epic, massive hardship, and teammate self-sacrifice, but it is nowhere else nearly as dramatic as it is in cycling, in my opinion. And as said in previous stages as well, no other sport so easily lends itself to be dramatized by even the simplest of storytellers. Yes, now I, one of the simple storytellers, can no longer contain these ideas in my head alone. It is unavoidable that the words must spill out onto the page, and my written thoughts shall be transmitted out orally across cutting-edge mediums of technology. So now at last, this opening stage race of introductions is complete. Let us now move on. At last, let the chronicling of great deeds done on two wheels begin. All right. So this one I think kind of served as a counterbalance almost to the fun hero's journey stuff of the stage 3 and probably stage 2, I guess, you know? Like I love seeing the best guys be the heroes and do great feats of eternal fame, as I would probably say, you know? But what ultimately won me over to cycling completely was the selflessness of the teammates and the domestiques. I mean, like that really is a massive pillar of this podcast alone. As we go through these recaps for the season, try to look out how often I point out the teammates. Now, even I have some editing ability and try to keep it within some sort of reasonable length. So sometimes the teammates' efforts, that hits the chopping block and falls to the editing floor, right? It's cut into pieces. And that's part of the point. Like, not all the Samwise Gamgee efforts are fully recalled. And that's what actually makes them so cool is it is the selflessness, the quiet nature of these guys that just step up to the plate, really help their teammate win. And I mean, they really absolutely could not have done it without them. So I don't know, that's the biggest thing with cycling for me. Could not go unnoticed in this 4 days of introduction that was pretty heroic centered. But yeah, this was the final, I don't know, almost sobering. Yeah, like I said, counterbalance, antidote. Antidote's not the right word, but counterbalance, I guess. Counterbalance to that. So, anyways, hopefully you enjoyed it. That's the 4 days of introduction. We'll be jumping into some cyclocross content, recapping the season so far, leading up to Fayetteville, Arkansas. Hopefully you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter, Cycling Odysseys. Send me an email at cyclingodysseys@gmail.com. Find the blog post, cyclingodysseys.com. Thank you for listening. Vive le cyclisme.